Tell me what's new in the loan officer business. Oh, because as real estate agents, we hear about high mortgage interest rates, buyers saying, I just can't afford to do it right now. You know, things are tough right now. Consumer credit card debt, I think I just saw surpassed 1.2 trillion nationwide. 1.32 trillion. Okay. Yeah. It keeps going up, and it's not even Christmas yet. So more not only that, it's homeowners insurance. That, like in the last 10 years, that stuff has damn near doubled in some areas.
It's doubled in the last 300%. In like certain areas.
Up over 300% in the state of Florida, and up 110% in the Hampton Roads area.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and add the layer to our young first-time home buyers and say record amounts of student loan debt. Okay.
Yep.
We're having home prices now at historic highs in a lot of areas throughout the country. I understand some markets are in correction territory and they're selling for lower, but there's some markets now still that are getting multiple offers. Despite all of these disparities and these challenges with home buyers, it's looking like, I think I was reading a tweet or an X post that only about 70% or less than 70% of people cannot afford to buy a house, essentially. 30% of people are in a position to do so. Saying all that doom and gloom, you guys are in the loan and credit industry. You know, people aren't just doing ninja loans anymore, no income, no job, approved type of loans. Credit scores do matter. So having said all this, and how are you guys identifying these challenges, overcoming these, or what are you guys just seeing in the industry that's making it very difficult to get people the funding they need to get into homes?
So, not to ruin the party, but let me tell you, right now, there's three things that we are seeing happening to consumer credit reports, because I personally feel, and I'm like guys like Robert, Josh, Jeremy, I really, really hope I'm wrong. I'm praying that I'm wrong. But right now, I think we are about to see an effect on consumer credit reports. It's going to be worse than the pandemic, and it's got three heads, right? So the three-headed dragon, number one, we know of right now 9.7 million people just got hit with 90 and 120 day late on their student loans. Okay, we're seeing it everywhere. It's happening nationwide. It's happening to rich and the poor, whether you graduated or not. Repayment started, whether people were notified or not notified. I always make the joke, like, I can try to get a meeting with Jeremy and send him a pigeon. I try to notify them, but I don't know if he got there. And so a lot of people suddenly had their 750, 760 credit score drop to a 520. And then when they try to figure out what happened is they're getting hit with late payments on student loans. Coupled with that, and Jeremy can attest to this, student loans rarely come in one, right? Most people have several student loans. So that's the first one. The second one, and this is the one that really scares me because it's so new and the trend doesn't look good. Buy now, pay laters are now landing on credit reports. And the problem is that a lot of people, I don't know if you saw Klarna, $136 billion in the red from January till now. Affirm. I've seen people with an $18 collection on their credit report because they didn't pay their little Affirm loan. So it's too new, but for what I've seen so far, I cannot find a benefit of using this buy now, pay laters to increase your credit score. And the third one, and this is the most recent one, so everybody heard that the CFPB at one point or another, specifically January 7th, passed a ruling trying to remove about $50 million, with a B, $50 billion of medical bills off of credit reports. So naturally, unfortunately, people kind of react on a headline without reading the entire article, so to speak, and people stop paying their medical bills. Some people couldn't pay their medical bills. So for a moment there, everybody was under the impression that they were no longer going to be on the credit report. They just reversed that rule. And so if the medical bill is over $500, so literally 501 penny, it's going to go back on the credit report. None of these are positive effects on the credit report for a consumer.
Well, that sounds like a lot there, JP. So I want to start and kind of preface this because like you are kind of like in a unique space and one that, myself, I like a challenge, but you have to love a challenge, I think, to be in the space that you're in. So kind of what got you started or got you into doing what you do?
Moving here. So I moved here in 1999 from Argentina, right? And I said it before and it got me in trouble, but whatever. So I get here, right? I start going to high school. I'm living the dream. I got my first job at the Olive Garden and the breast stick guy. And like, I'm noticing all these younger kids around me, right? Like driving a Mustang or whatever. And specific, I'm thinking of one of my cousins who shall remain nameless. I'm like, dude, like I love you, but you're not that bright. How the heck do you get that car? And so he's like, oh, Brent, like you just go, and you sign a paper and they just give it to you and you make payments. And then specifically with the Latino community, a lot of people start building their credit with this thing called Royal Prestige, where you go and finance pots and pans, like ridiculous interest rates. So when I moved here, my mom is told, hey, you got to start building credit. And it's kind of like the one-eyed person leading the blind, so to speak. And then I got my first Capital One credit card. Like, Josh, I thought it was free money, brother. And then I realized it's not how it worked. I'm like, okay, there's a lot to this whole credit thing, because how come some people can get the Mustang, right, and some people can't? How come Capital One at 16 is sending me a $300 credit card and some other people can't? And that's when I started going down the rabbit hole. And then once I got into, I've been in debt settlement, I've been in debt collections. Once I got here to UQUAL and really just started dedicating myself to the fact that there is 28 FICO algorithms, the fact that there's other algorithms that have nothing to do with mortgage, and why is this all so accessible to some people and not to others? And then you go back to 1956, and like, in a sense, we're using the same algorithm from back then. So the FICO 2, FICO 4, FICO 5 algorithms, right? People think FICO is directly related to credit. FICO is a fair ISIC company. It was started in mid-1950s. They're a software company, right? Just like Microsoft tries to peddle you a new Windows every year, FICO tries to peddle you a new algorithm. And like, honestly, I just find it fascinating that a 3-digit number decides your generational wealth. Like, to me, that's nuts.
Obviously you guys heard about that Vantage credit score thing. Curious, how is that? So let me back up for a second, just so I can understand UQUAL. So UQUAL, is that a software that helps people get qualified for a mortgage, essentially, that might have some credit issues? Is that
so UQUAL stands on 4 pillars, right? So we call it the 4 pillars of loan readiness. Number 1 is going to be DTI, right?
Debt to income.
Housing is unaffordable. I can tell you, Rob, a lot of times it's not that they don't have the money. A lot of times people are misallocating the money, right? So you have the joke, Starbucks, you have GrabHub, DoorDash, all this takeout. You have things like people spending $260 on their dog monthly on average, and now introduce online sports betting, right? It's so easy to throw a parlay, and so it's not that they don't have the money in some cases. It's just that it's being misallocated. So UQUAL helps to address that. The other pillar is going to be your savings. So the best way to have savings is to eliminate debt. So for instance, you talked about consumer credit card debt. Our AI gives people an opportunity to set up a comprehensive plan so that they can get out from under credit card debt. And then that money goes into savings so that they can go to Germany with money ready for their down payment and closing costs, right? The number 3 pillar is going to be documents and information that need to be gathered. That's very straightforward. And number 4, of course, is going to be credit. The biggest difference is we're digitally integrated. So we're not out here writing letters or sending smoke signals to the credit bureaus to try to get things under dispute. And that's another big difference that I want to make, because you can go on Credit Karma right now and dispute anything on your report, And that's called a blanket dispute. It's very different from what we do when you're leveraging the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The ultimate goal of the UQUAL platform is to help somebody that cannot qualify yet to being able to get a pre-qual and go shopping with you guys. That's what we do, no matter whether it's financial or credit. Me specifically, I lead with education, man. Like, I had a little class that we did with Jeremy, and like, the way that it was prefaced is Credit 101, the class that was never taught in school. And I love that because I know people in the finance industry who don't know anything about credit, and there's a reason for that, right?
Well, question about credit, because, you know, let's say there's a Gen Z, you know, 21 years old, you know, 22 years old, just graduated college, or maybe it's before college. Maybe let's go back even further, because credit card, you know, things come in the mail as soon as you turn 18 somehow. So what should somebody do? Let's say they want to be a homeowner in their early 20s, you know, and they're going to graduate college, get some sort of job, but they need to establish some credit. What would you recommend? Because I think you mentioned something about if you want to establish credit, somebody tells you get some sort of, you know, charge account or a credit card. What would you recommend? Would it be a credit card of sorts?
So the key word that you use is establish. So let's go from that premise, right? This isn't somebody that had good credit and went down. We're establishing, then you need to diversify your credit mix. Mm-hmm. So I will never tell somebody to go buy a car in order to establish credit. Why am I going to put somebody in debt? Instead, you need to leverage your own money, right, to be able to establish. So 3 very simple steps. Number 1, you get a secure credit card, right? Nowadays, you can take out a secure credit card, and it works very much like a debit card. You put a deposit, and you're basically making purchases and payment on your own money.